Whoa, what's going on, guys? How you guys doing? It is Perkins Talks. It is all things Perkins. It is Perkins Eats. It is Perkins Drinks. It's Perkins everything, because all things Perkins. That's just what we are. First of all, before I begin the podcast, y'all like the sweatshirt? Ooh, roar. Hear me roar. Ha. Hear me roar. Exit 1414. The Lord fight for you. All you gotta do is just shh. Just be quiet, y'all. Y'all don't always gotta respond. Y'all always gotta talk back. Y'all don't always gotta defend yourself. Because guess what? The God sends an advocator. God sends a lawyer. Let's say that. To speak for us. And it's called the Holy Spirit, y'all. Yes, that's who it's called. It's called the Holy Spirit, alright? So, check out the last episode of the podcast. We did something good. We did something great. We did. And now, we're back on the couch now. So welcome to the sofa. Well, okay, I haven't really thought about a full name, so I might just keep it Perkins Talks, you know? Perkins Talks, and then I'll just have, like, somebody else, you know, like, hey, do you want to, like, come on with Perkins Talks, and then we'll, you talk, then we talk, then all of us talk. How about that? I don't know. Welcome to the sofa. Welcome to the couch. Welcome to the love seat. Welcome to my living room. Ooh. Alright, that sounded creepy now. I'm sorry about that, y'all. Listen, y'all, still a little sick, so part of my voicey voice. Got a lot of sickness in there. Actually, it's clearing now, y'all. It's clearing now. I've been taking some NyQuil honey. I've been taking some DayQuil honey. So, yeah. And right now, we got my little cup. Hopefully, they don't get me on copyright infringement and stuff like that. But it's Batman. Batman. Alright. So today, you know, we're going to talk about our Come to Jesus meeting. Yes. We're going to talk about a Come to Jesus meeting. Because in the community, there was no talks. And when I say the community, y'all, I mean the black community. Don't think I mean like where I grew up in, but I'm talking about in the black community. When I was growing up, when I was a little boy, before I became of age to think for myself, when I was a little boy, there wasn't no, hey, you got to go to therapy, you got to go to counseling, you got to go to a licensed therapist, a licensed counselor, to get your problems sorted out, to get your things sorted out. There was none of that there. There was no thought of actually having a therapist or a counselor sitting across from you. There was none of that. So naturally, what we did, what happened was that whenever your parents saw that there was a problem, they would bring you to church, and they'll bring you to before the pastors, and the pastors, if they had the time, right? Because pastors were busy. I mean, they still busy, but they were busy back in those days for some reason. So at that time, they'll bring you to the pastor, and then they will set up an appointment, and then you start talking with the pastor to figure out what's going on with you, to figure out what's going inside your heart, you know, to figure out why you acting the way you acting, why are you showing out the way you showing out, why are you misbehaving the way you misbehaving. That's what our parents did for us, my mom rather, because I didn't grow up with a dad, right? I told y'all that, right? I think I told y'all that. But anyway, so that's what my mom did. You know, whenever there was a problem, whenever she saw that I was looking at a magazine that I shouldn't be looking at, or whenever I would be doing something I shouldn't be doing, she would take me to the church, and we'll try to have a meeting, whatever. We'll try to discuss what my problems is. We'll just try to discuss what my issues were, and that's fine, right? That's fine. I don't have no problem with bringing your kids to church. I don't have no problem with saying that your kids need to go to church. I don't have no problem with that. The thing that makes me makes me want to disassociate myself with saying take your kids to church is that your kids actually needs a licensed therapist or a licensed counselor to figure out what's going on, because today's kids, they got more problems than we had back in our times. I guarantee, because I guarantee it wasn't as crazy as it was. Maybe I was just too in the house, not really seeing what's going on the outside, but within our house we know that it wasn't that crazy. It wasn't that wild, because our mama, she didn't go for that. Our mama, she didn't play like that. So today's kids, there's a lot of problems. There's a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of stuff that goes on a kid's mind, that they need to release, that they need to talk to somebody and let that out, because a lot of times parents nowadays, we don't really have the time for that, you know. And a lot of times today's parents, we're trying to figure out what's going on with us, and trying to figure out the best plan for our future, the best plan for the kids' future, the best of this, that. So a lot of times we don't have time to really sit down and say, hey, you know, what's going on with you today? How you doing? How's everything? You know, how's life treating you? How's this treating you? How's that treating you? You know, so a lot of times we just go through life on the fast forward button, and we just don't have time just to stop and breathe, relax. And that's where it becomes the difficult part. That's where it becomes the hard part. Because as parents, you want to get into your kids' lives. As parents, you want to figure out what's going on with your child. You want to know why your child's acting the way they act. You want to know why your child is throwing fits as they do. You want to know that. But I tell y'all, taking your child to church is not the full answer. Yes, your child needs God. I ain't gonna put that past them. Your child needs God. Your child needs a full deliverance from the Lord Jesus Christ himself. But taking church is not the only answer. One of the answers is counseling. One of the answers is a therapist. Someone that they can actually talk to. Because a lot of times kids don't want to always talk to their parents about stuff that goes on, you know? Like, they just don't. They want to talk to somebody else. So naturally, it's good to get them into counseling. It's good to get them through a therapist. But like I said, in the community, the black community, once again, in the community, it was none of that. There was no let's go get you checked in and have you go talk to somebody. There's not. Have you ever seen the show Sopranos? And remember when Tony was gonna go talk to a therapist, and he had to always like look around before he went inside, because going to a therapist is not part of that community. Even though yes, he was Italian and stuff like that, or was he Italian? Yeah, I think he was Italian, whatever. But still, my point that I'm trying to say is that going to a therapist, going to someone that talks about your problems, you didn't do that. You found a way to handle them. You found a way to get through them. You found a way to get over them. But it wasn't through a therapist. It wasn't through a licensed counselor. It wasn't through none of that. And like I said, even in our community, the black community, that just wasn't the answer. The answer wasn't, I'm gonna pay $50 to $150 just so you could go ahead and talk to somebody. Nah, because mama didn't have money like that. So since mama didn't have money like that, so she just did what the next possible thing was just to do, is just to bring us to church. And that's a free option, and there's nothing wrong with that. But nowadays, I'll tell y'all, there are ways that you can go to counseling and it will not be such a financial hardship on you. There's BetterHelp. That's an online program that you could do. Like, do your research. Like, go look around to different places that will do it all upon your income. You know, I mean, there's times I went to counseling for $40. Sometimes I went to counseling for $60. So it literally all depends on what you're willing to kick out, and what you're willing to pay and stuff like that. You know. So yeah, so a lot of times we would have this come to Jesus meeting, you know, with the pastor and stuff like that. And yeah, once again, there's nothing wrong with talking to a pastor. There's nothing wrong with talking to somebody within the church. But a lot of times, not a lot of times, but I would say you need to use discretion and discernment. Two very big D words: discretion and discernment. Maybe they both probably mean the same thing. I don't know. But anyway, you got to use, especially when it comes to discernment, because you can't tell your business to everybody. And the reason why people don't go to church nowadays, or people stray away from church nowadays, the reason why is because they've talked to somebody about their issues, about their problems, and that someone, instead of keeping it within them or asking them, hey, can I go talk to the pastor about what you just told me? They said, you know what? I'm going to share this with so-and-so. I'm going to share this with this person. I'm going to share it with that person. And then they keep it inside where it should have been, where it should have been belonged. Now, I get it. If the kid's saying, hey, I'm suicidal, yo, we're going to have to talk to the pastor immediately. Let's go. Let's go talk to the pastor, man. Let's go figure this out, But I don't think that sharing someone's business of what they've been through is the proper way of actually handling the situation or actually going through the situation. That's why I say discretion and discernment. Matter of fact, let me look at that up right now as I'm talking to y'all. What's the meaning of discretion? But when it does come to when it comes to telling your business and telling what you're going through, nah, that's not even the right word I'm using. So discernment. We'll just say discernment. You got to use discernment because honestly, you want to find that right person to tell what you're going through. You want to use that right person because, once again, you do not want your business being spread out to everybody. Because if that was the case, you'd be like, Pastor, let me get the microphone. I got something to say. I got something to say. And even in the scriptures, it talks about discernment, right? Even in the scriptures, there's scriptures that literally talk about discernment. But honestly, you have to be the one to say, you know what, this is very important. Let me share it. Or this is very important. Let me not share it with this person. Let me go to actually talk to the pastor. Because sometimes pastors don't really gossip like that. They don't really have time for that, But behind closed doors, anything may happen. I'm just saying. But once again, just discernment. You gotta know who to talk to, man. But I will say this though. There's a lot of stuff that goes down in the community. There's a lot of stuff that you see in the community. There's a lot of stuff that you could just walk through, and you just see a lot of stuff that you're just like, wow. So this is why you need to have that person that you can talk to. You need to have that person that you can go to when stuff doesn't seem right. When stuff is not adding up, if you're constantly bombarded by drugs, the drug scene, the alcohol scene, the sex scene, seeing many women's getting pregnant at a young age, man, that's something to talk about, man. That's something to go through because of course you're not gonna want to say, oh wow, that looks cool, I want to emulate that in my own life. No, you're like, man, what's really going on, and especially you've been around gun violence a lot, that's the time to speak up, to see what's going on inside you. You may not have a feeling towards that, or you may have a strong feeling towards that type of thing. But that's when you need to open up and start talking about it. You need to open up and say, hey, listen, man, I seen a bullet fly right over my two sisters. When I was a kid, man, that kind of messed me up, man. Or I seen my sisters do this, do that. Man, that messed me up, man. But this is why you get to talk things out. And a lot of times you don't always go to your parents or your partner, I mean like your boyfriend or girlfriend, whatever type of situation, whatever type of situation you want, whatever type of situation you in. Sometimes you don't want to always go to that type of person and just say, hey, look, this is happened. This is what I went through. This is what I experienced. You know, you always want to go to somebody who can handle those type of situations, who can handle those type of discussions. And sometimes you just need a friend just to hear you out. To make it seem like that you're not crazy, you just need a friend to hear you out. It's like, dude, I just need you to listen to me real quick. But what happens is that a lot of people, they don't know how to deal with the type of information that you've bestowed upon them. So the only way that they know is either joking or not really taking you serious. But that's where discernment comes into play. That's where you need to say, you know what? You're not the right person to speak to on this matter. You're not the right person to go to on this matter. Sorry, but you're not. You're not. And as sad as that may seem, because I love you as a friend, I love you as a brother, I love you as a sister or whatever, but you're not the right person to go to at this moment. Because I need somebody that can be serious with me. I need somebody that can understand what I'm going through. And I don't need the joking. I don't need the laughing. I don't need that. I have a serious issue that needs to be dealt with. And a lot of times you really would like to find that person that will be able just to handle whatever situation you are putting on them. You should always be willing to lean on your friends, and vice versa. Your friends should always be willing to lean on you. No matter what you go through, no matter what you're doing in that moment, no matter what it may seem like, no matter what it is like, no matter. Your friends should always be there just to actually hear you, to respond to what's going on in that moment, to understand what's going on in that moment. Yeah, that's why they call friends. Friends stands for fully relying, indwelling, everyone need. Yeah, I don't know. I was really trying to find an acronym of friends. I couldn't think of one. I really couldn't.